Today, on This American Dice, a human sacrifice and hideous creatures summoned forth. Can the magistrates of Ryoko Owari defeat something that is brought forth from the darkness itself? Find out what happens today on This American Dice.
We see a shot of the full moon, and we kind of zoom out, and the full moon is getting smaller and smaller, and at first it's just like, oh, we're just looking at the full moon and the totally dead night sky. But as we zoom out farther, or pull farther back, we see that there's all this, we're in a cavern, we're looking at it up through the hole in the ceiling of this cavern. The moonlight comes in and hits all of this kind of like, these crystal and salt formations that are inside the cavern, and so it's actually pretty well lit. It's still not a bright lit room, but there are no torches, there are no candles, none of this, and yet it's lit well enough where if you were to squint, you could read words on a page in here. It's that well lit. There's maybe a dozen or so people, and they're dressed in robes, kind of made of dark, coarse cloth, and there are 8 people who are bound, being held by 8 of these dozen people on their knees.
That leaves only 4 people.
They look pretty beat up. There's a man in the center who has a shaved head and who is holding a knife that is made of chipped obsidian. And he's kind of screaming with wild abandon, "Lord Anatangu, as your blood mixed with the tears of the sun to create us, so too did your blood create this pure blade." And he brandishes it around in a circle, pointing it at each of these 8 people. And he says, "Your children, those who have called themselves kami, those who have ruled us and spurned you, they shall be sacrificed to you, the great Father, who looks over us each night, who grants us his blessing. Your champion shall be summoned to defeat the usurper children who sought to wrest you from the sky. Bring forth the first of the children."
We see a city on a lush river surrounded by miles of fields of red poppies. Immediately around the city are green limestone walls. A group of traveling monks heads north toward the city on a main road. The monks are met by peasants along the way who offer alms in exchange for blessings and prayers. The camera flies towards Ryoko Owari Toshi, over its green walls and into the noble quarter. We see beautiful houses, a grand and imposing palace, and a foreign mansion that stands out among the traditional architecture. We pass over the north wall into the temple quarter where the city's population pays their respects to the fortunes, their ancestors, and countless other spirits. The temple of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, and the temple of Daikoku, the fortune of wealth, almost shine in the bright day. Moving west, we see the busy streets of the merchant quarter, crowded with vendors selling goods from all over the Emerald Empire, and even some from beyond. We cross over the Bay of Drowned Honor, passing fishing boats, cargo barges, and the pleasure crafts of the wealthy to arrive in the fishermen's quarter. As the name suggests, the docks are swarming with men and women unloading their catches, but they are joined by burly porters. The quarter is much dirtier, the buildings closer together and shabbier. We see 2 groups of rough men in an altercation. We head south, swiftly passing over the flat gray leatherworkers' quarter, the home of the Eta, the Untouchables. The only building that stands out is the city's crematorium, which belches forth thick, black smoke. When we arrive back at the river, we slowly float southeast to the licensed quarter. Calmly lit in the twilight glow of hanging lanterns, we see samurai patronizing fine sake and geisha houses. We see a man in a basket hat approach an open door as he is beckoned in by a beautiful geisha. And once inside, he removes his hat to reveal he was the monk from the beginning. Closing the door, the geisha looks at the camera and mouths, "Secrets." Ryoko Owari, City of Lies. Executive Producer, Jessica HBO.
Everyone here is of different ages. As you look around, you can see that there are people who... I don't think there's any children, but there are some folks who are, like, old, and there are some folks who seem to be maybe in their teens, like little kids. Everybody is pretty badly beaten up. And the first child that's brought is...
Wait, does obsidian have some... Is that like a magic thing like jade is? Or just cool?
I think if anybody knew that, he might know it. But I think it's like a obscure thing.
Do you know anything?
We could maybe make some kind of roll about it.
Sure.
Spout lore.
Yeah, if there was a spout lore in this game.
Spout that lore.
So far as what you know, what he said is true. The kind of legendary belief is
body?
It's Lord Anatangu's blood that fell to the earth that didn't mix with Amaterasu, the sun goddess's tears, which is what humans were made of.
The mixture?
Yeah, so like those two things mixing together is what created humanity. Bring forth the first of the usurper children, he says. And,
Red shirt time.
Uh-oh.
What?
You're first. Yeah, I was like, let me see this look. And is your character knowledgeable about history?
How would I know that?
Is with your idea of your character, is Yugare knowledgeable of history? The history of Rokugan?
Yeah.
So, if you're looking around, and there are 8 of these, there are 7 great clans, each which are founded by one of the kami, one of the children of the sun and the moon. Mm-hmm. There are 8 here. And you figure either, then, the 8th represents Hanti, the emperor, the emperor's family, or he who must not be named, Fu Lang. If you're guessing, it would either go from the start to the finish, or oldest to youngest, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But there's another possibility, which is based on when the kami fell to earth and each kind of started to gather up their various followers. At some point, they met on a hill, which is now Otosanuchi, the capital, and fought a duel, or a competition, to see who would become the emperor. And they did this kind of one by one as like a elimination match, essentially, to see who would become the emperor. And
that's Mortal Kombat.
Yes, they basically Mortal Kombated the situation. And your kami, Tagashi, was the only one who didn't come over here. Was the only one who didn't take part at all. And basically said, I'm not interested, and went to a mountain. And so, arguably, your clan's founder was the first loser of that competition.
We conceded, huh?
Yes.
Winner.
Yeah. So, yeah, yours was the first to definitely not win that competition. And so thus...
Not where.
Who got the bye?
2 of these people drag you forward towards the center of this circle. And this guy with the knife, and your hands are bound behind you, and this guy with the knife, essentially takes the front of your robes and cuts them open with it, and you realize this knife has been kind of chipped.
He took our advice about the sexy thing.
I know,
Yeah,
almost
right at the start.
Yeah, exactly, almost flint style, like the way you do with flint, kind of chipped to this very sharp edge. So it's like glass, it's a knife made of glass, basically, and it's pretty long, maybe 7 or 8 inches long. Anybody? Nothing.
Nope.
So
it's too sharp.
He slices open your robes and says bring him to the altar. And the altar is just this. It's a stone that at the moment is kind of, you can see it's made of some kind of salt rock or something like that. That's kind of glowing a bit or glistening a bit in the light of the moon. And these people kind of take you, and again your arms are kind of bound. And they're trying to put you over this stone, almost where if the stone is just a kind of little round ball.
Turtle shell?
Yeah. You would be where your spine would curve over it, and thus your belly would be exposed. And you're getting from the imagery that he's discussing, and based on what you know of the mythological history of Rokugan, you're definitely going to be disemboweled on this rock, is the game plan here.
Is the rock discolored at all?
Not at the moment. You're wagering it could be.
Yeah, well, I'm not totally down to get sacrificed.
Mm-hmm. You got that secondary character, right?
We didn't see this stuff before.
We said we're starting to approach the end, so... Man.
That old guy is... What's his name?
Hiker.
And
yeah, this guy with the shaved head... he kind of spins around and he looks at all of the other various people in robes and kind of says, Lord Moon, this is the first of your usurper's children's progeny to be sacrificed unto you. This shall bring you down from the heavens to take your place, not only there outside of our world, but here as well. This, the coward dragon, Tagashi. And this guy holds this knife kind of over his head in like a stabbing motion, almost like Captain Kirk who's going to fight a lizard man.
Well, I think my best shot...
To consult the country.
Seek the wisdom of my ancestors.
Or am I the only one who's not okay with this?
That knife is it's black, it's absolute pitch black, and the knife blade is absolute pitch black, and yet it's glinting black glass.
That's going to cause an infection. That's should be your main concern.
Is he a White Walker? It's going to be real bad.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched
So, has it been long enough since the last session that I've recovered all my harm?
Not at all.
No, opposite. In fact, you're nearly dead.
In fact, you're pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So I don't think that move would help because I'd probably take harm from it.
You can always
Hold on, let me rephrase this.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't said anything, so let me be clear.
Rephrase it.
Do you want to do something, right?
Yeah, not get sacrificed.
Not get sacrificed. It sounds like you're defying danger. We'll go ahead and make a bold roll.
I think Andrew wanted to cause lightning out of his fingertips.
I think he'll still need to defy danger before he can do any kind of prayer.
So is this a
bold roll,
You're
defy
good at these
danger.
last time, right?
Mm-hmm. Great. That's why he's here. Because he bold rolled.
Ooh, that was a mold roll. All right. So you got a 4?
3.
A 3. All
You're an
right.
experienced one. Just level up out of this.
Level up right out of this cave. Level your way
All
out.
right.
Is that one of the advancements? Teleport. One time.
So you've been kind of swimming as like the pain from that wound has been kind of racking your brain, and you kind of only fully come to, and the lights in this room make it seem like a crazy acid trip. Like none of this seems real. And you're a person who has dealt with the kami in enough ways and had enough like fasting sessions where this kind of thing isn't super unusual to you. Mm-hmm. You literally probably don't think it's real for a while, and then it becomes very awkwardly real of like, holy crap, this dude is going to kill me. And as you go to struggle to get up, instead these two other people that are holding your arms just pull you further down and kind of further stretch, and you feel like your sternum, let me make sure I don't hurt myself doing this impression, your sternum kind of like just stretch and your back like kind of groan as somebody else grabs your legs and pulls them down on the other side of this rock. And you hear, Lord Moon, take his blood. Ishi, you have never been to this lunar cave. You heard these guys went to the lunar cave.
Yes.
You probably have a general idea of where it is. Like, oh, it's in those foothills to the northeast of the city. But that could be freaking anywhere. But you're working with Matsu Fukushu's ghost to arrive at this place. What is the supernatural signal that tells you where to go?
I think there is... I think I'm following a crow with, like, blood-stained wings.
Ooh.
That's good.
All right, so you follow a crow with blood-stained wings. So you see this...
dripping crow.
Yeah, you hear this cawing that's, like, very, very loud as, like, the night sky is... the night sky seems clear, except with this huge moon up in the sky. You hear its cawing that echoes out. And no matter what you kind of look at around you to make sure that you're kind of safely riding, you can still hear the cawing of this crow. But time is kind of the essence. And you are also, I think, going to have to make a defy danger roll. The danger roll of getting there in time.
Oh, okay. It's kind of a high bar.
Whoop.
Does it count?
Just give it back to me.
Does it count, though?
Again. Just roll that one again.
It can only be worse. Yeah.
That is true. Shit. Okay.
It was a pass. Now it is a fail.
What is it total?
No, it's probably just 4. Yeah, I have no both.
4. All right.
Andrew's like,
Okay.
2 bold rolls.
So we see you kind of galloping and galloping and galloping. We cut to Taiyo at Michitaka's residence. Mm-hmm. You and the samurai squad. Again, Michitaka's residence is kind of a mess. Mm-hmm. It's a fairly nice place, but it just has not been kept up well. There's only one servant, and that one servant, I think, is an elderly cook.
Right.
And they are presenting not even the slightest resistance to you guys searching this place. Mm-hmm. The other samurai squad are kind of looking through stuff, and at some point you do not find anything that seems to be Narutoki's journal, but you do find a journal that is Michitaka's journal. Mm. And you kind of thumb through it very quickly, and in the way you would do in a movie or a TV show, you quickly get to the relevant portion of things. Yeah. Most of it...
And he reads it from off screen.
Yeah, and most of the stuff is about... and you go through to prior to his brother's death. You look through a few passages and read only the first bits, and it's all about pretty ladies he wants to sleep with, how drunk he got.
Wait, who is it?
This is Michitaka.
Michitaka's or mine?
This is Michitaka, yeah.
Gotcha.
Pretty ladies he wants to sleep with, how drunk he got, things he wants to buy, and like crazy nights on the town. Mm-hmm. Those 4 subjects come to a bunch of it until we get to Narutoki's death. Mm-hmm. All right? And then you notice there's basically nothing there. The journal stops, essentially. When you flip through a few things, you can find some more information here, but you're going to have to make a roll. I think it's a read a situation roll with this.
Sure.
This isn't a person, really. You can make an argument that you are reading Michitaka through this journal, if you want, but I could buy that.
The situation has better questions. The ones I'm more interested in. For that. Let's see if we can do the hat trick of 3 failures.
Yeah. So this is from Michitaka's... Oh, damn, we did. 3 failures indeed.
Got it.
All right. So you're going through this stuff, and yeah.
Why did I say that out loud?
Well, you willed it into existence. You secreted that. Ooh, your vision board. So, yeah, that's all you can find when it hits Narutoki's death. The day before that is it. That's the last entry in Michitaka's journal, and there's nothing else.
Gotcha.
I think you go to a room.
It wasn't. So if I remember from last time, it was just he just looks like he's been training nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Super Saiyan style.
I don't think you've necessarily, at least on camera, seen him, but the description we've given other folks who have seen him is, in the dossier, he was this kind of fat, drunk, lecherous slob. Mm-hmm. Now when you see him, he looks like this very focused, very determined, very muscular dude. Mm-hmm. And the one thing he's focused on is revenge. Mm-hmm. So I think you just find that it ends there. And then one of the guys from the samurai squad says, "No other books."
All right. I guess not here then. What's her face there? Or did she just lend me her?
I think she let you deal with this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'll just dismiss them then. I guess we're not going to find it then.
All right. They kind of they bow. They're just going to head back to the civil hall to her to go see what they got to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and this place was a mess before, and it's now more of a mess as these guys just ripped through the place like cops would on a drug raid. Where they tore everything apart, but honestly, it looked like shit to start. We had said that Aji, who, based on his love roll, had to... You said you devote your next few days to creating a work of art. Oh, no. You go immediately to the object of your love side, abandoning your allies or current duties. So,
can I see that?
I think we then have a shot of Aji. using opium someplace. Any particular place?
Yeah, the House of Foreign Stories.
Aji's at the House of Foreign Stories, and he's using opium. And so we see, like, you're smoking a pipe and kind of, like, lying back. And it's all, like, those kind of slow motion shots of smoke. And it's like, oh, it's like the 90s. And we see in the background a woman playing a samisen or some other kind of instrument as you're just kind of sitting there, like, real out of it. We're back at the lunar cave. This guy begins, like, screaming up to the heavens, and as he screams up to the heavens, there's a commotion from the back, which is that Ishi has found his way to this cave, followed this crow, and you've wandered in, and of course, the way that you come through is totally dark, but when you get there, you kind of emerge, and you're taken aback that there are way more people looking at you than you would have thought that there would have been. As, like, to get into this cave, you have to kind of hunch down and wiggle through and crawl through this small space that's very, very dark until you get into the main chamber. Once you get into the main chamber, unfortunately, you heard some stuff off in the distance, but it seems as though these people heard you, and you come face to face with 7 or 8 of these kind of robed figures, each of which is wielding this wicked-looking knife, and they kind of, like, begin to press in on you in a very terrifying manner. And you hear this. You see a figure kind of in the back with this large knife made out of that same kind of terrifying black glass material say, "Seize that intruder! He won't stop this sacrifice to our Lord!" And he just goes to jam this into Yugare's stomach. And I think, actually, he does. So he just jams part of this into your stomach. And so I think you do take a wound.
Wound or harm?
Harm, sorry.
That's probably fine.
Becomes a wound.
Oh.
Well, yes. Being disemboweled, probably do it too.
So, just take the one.
Yeah, that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
needed.
enough.
And then the entire place goes black. Almost as if there's, like, an eclipse. And so even as you had come in, you were able to see these 7 or 8 robed figures with these knives. You saw that there were other people kind of bound. You got through, you're all dirty and covered in schmutz, and, like, you're wet from maybe the water that's trickling down around these caves. And you kind of come in. Your horse is somewhere far off, tethered down in the distance in the foothills, and you see this guy with this knife, and it comes down, and then it just goes black, as if there's an eclipse, and the moon itself is kind of turned off or blinked out. And then from the camera's perspective, what we then see is not that the moon has been blinked out, but in the way that an eclipse is the Earth's shadows blocking the moon, or the Earth casting its shadow on the moon. That's what it is.
Okay.
Nailed it. I know about space. Sorry. George R. R. Martin showed up.
What's he doing?
He's here.
Get him out of here.
It's his shadow on the moon.
Yeah. The thing that's blocking the moon comes far closer and has come through that thing, and it is horrifying. And you hear this screeching noise that sounds like if a bird was making a horrible, like almost like hawk-like screech, but also a person were screaming in pain, and those two noises are made at the same time. And
Well, one of them's just me.
one of them might be you, and one of them might also be the man who's holding that knife over you, as this massive head with these huge jaws grabs this man. It comes out of the sky and it suddenly becomes visible again as its huge frame is no longer blocking all of the light from the moon, and this thing bites this man kind of grabbing him in its huge mouth. And this is a mouth that's like the size of
this room.
Well, like one of these things at least. So it kind of like grabs him, and at first he's shrieking and screaming, and it kind of shakes him a bit, and then chomps further, and like bits of him fall to the side, and the rest is kind of swallowed, and it screams again. I'm doing this as if it was a puppet, and it screams again at these other robed figures and all of you, like and the two of you, and it has kind of a bird's face, but on the side of its mouth are like predator-esque mandibles too, so it's a bird, but with that.
Disgusting.
And on its hideous tongue is the face of a woman, and that is like in this like look of pain.
Like the size of a woman's face?
Yeah.
How big it is?
Mm-hmm. So its tongue is enough where the tip of it is the size of a woman's face.
So if it licks you, it's also nuzzling you.
Maybe, yes. Although the face could maybe bite you or lick you too.
But there's a bird tongue.
Yeah, on the end of that tongue. And on the end of that tongue, well, no one knows. We don't have the technology
small,
yet. Yeah. So this thing looks like a huge, almost like a pterodactyl-esque bird. It has some feathers, but its wings look much more like bat-like. And on the end, where the wings usually kind of like have that little like this deal, are human hands that are all gnarled and disgusting.
That's the
and
wing elbow for anyone listening.
The wing elbow. Yeah. And at the end of the wings, where we have little tips, the fingies, are also these kind of human hands. And these people absolutely freak the hell out.
Why?
I wonder why. Yeah. As this thing shrieks, and most of them try to run past you out of this because honestly, that's the only way really in here.
Well, I'm just lucid dreaming.
So I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I know it's lame to make you do the same thing again, but this is absolutely freaking terrifying. You're definitely going to have to make another bold roll.
Well, how much do you think I can perceive this? I just got stabbed.
I think you're kind of coming to, and you might think this is just a legitimate nightmare. But to figure out what to do, this is just absolutely so terrifying. I think that you're going to have to defy the danger of
I think Andrew just doesn't want to
being
defy
unable
danger
to
anymore
act.
because every time he defies danger, he gets punished and harmed. And
I'm fine to make the roll, but I feel like we need to reconcile my physical condition right now.
Yeah, what happened?
Because I took a wound from a stabbing, which was my 6th wound. So in addition to being disemboweled,
Well, you're not disemboweled. I think he definitely stabbed you in the stomach.
he didn't account for my endoskeleton or
Yeah, your thorax is fine.
He just didn't drag the knife across.
So he didn't disembowel you as in like pull your guts out, which
Okay.
based on the story seemed to be the game plan.
Right. Well, it still triggered a mortal wound.
All right.
So I can survive if I take a permanent -1 to a ring.
And to what ring do you choose to take a -1 to?
I would choose
Bold?
strong. I think I rolled strong yet. Bold on the other hand, I rolled frequently. So, alright, I'll take -1 there. So I guess he didn't maybe miss the vitals or something?
Sure, he stabs you. He stabs you in the guts, but you're able to kind of push through it. Now wincing in this abdominal pain.
And then I see this pterodactyl bat dragon.
Yeah, this pterodactyl bat dragon, as you so call it, this horrible winged demon monster.
You should like the dragon.
Alright, so this one's a 9.
That one's much better.
I'm feeling bolder now.
I'm feeling bolder.
So what happens now that I've...
So I think you're in a situation where you're going to have to get out of this, and you realize this thing is terrifying, and unfortunately, there's only one way in, and it takes you a while to remember back to when you'd been here when you were more lucid, as to where the hell that one way in and one way out really is, and if you want to get out of here,
Seems smart.
If you want to get out of here, which you probably do, the unfortunate thing is all of these robed figures are also heading out, so you'll probably end up in a situation where you'll have to fight some of them to get out of here.
We could just
tame the demon.
I
You need a mount still, right?
yeah. Do I see Ishi, or can I tell that he's here from the commotion?
He'd be seen.
I don't know. I think there might be too much crazy commotion for you to see that he's here at the moment.
I also stand like at least a foot taller than most people. I'm not.
It's real
I'm
crazy.
not saying it's changed anything. I'm just saying for humor, comedic effect.
Well, you're not taller than the demon.
True enough.
Well, I want to call upon Akami.
All right, we'll have you.
Yo, Kami, help me out. She's like literally calling out to God. Please, God, save me.
Yeah.
I think
We'll
that
have you- we'll have you-
only makes sense.
Because you guys both failed that, let's hop over to Ishi and see what he's up to with that. So you're able to get away from this thing at the moment. And you're heading that way, and you're like, if I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to have to probably fight one of these people to get out, as we are all heading towards this exit. Okay. Are what you're saying is you're not going to try to get out?
Well, I want to... There are a lot of nooks and crannies to this place, right?
Sure. It's a big, giant
I
cave.
want to get away from, like, the main open center area and see if I can reassess or something.
Well, what happened to your courageous?
Yeah, this is
You're
pretty sad.
you're gonna see
You're kill this demon. You're courageous. Don't forget.
Well, I'm saying I'm not running out of the cave. I'm not, like...
It's true.
I'm just messing with you.
You're only,
not gonna
you're
face-
only fighting a little
Okay.
corner
No one's about my
hiding.
stupid trait.
So it sounds like you're making a read a situation roll unless you're doing something specific.
Well, if we're cutting away, I just want to make it clear I'm not necessarily making a break for
Oh.
exit.
Okay, well, if you want to do this, go for it.
Courageous.
Read the situation? Sure.
It's not, unless you're doing something that is a specific move that you have.
For reading the situation?
Well, you said you wanted to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, one of the talking to the Kamies. Taking out.
Yeah, alright, I'll do that one instead. Seek the wisdom of the Tommy.
Okay.
11.
And what does that move do again? Because that's one of your class moves.
It's similar to read the situation, but instead I ask the Kami for guidance. On 11, I will ask 3 questions.
You got 11.
Yeah.
You have +3. You have +3 to your blessed.
Plus 2.
It's got a 9
Yeah,
showing.
it's 9
Okay.
showing. Well, so I guess... Oh, it's not like that. I guess the first one is what's the will of the gods in this situation?
That's a good question.
Hopefully not the moon god.
The will of the gods is this creature is an abomination.
Okay.
Is like to make that clear. This creature is an oni. This is a demon dragged up from the pits of hell. So it'll tell you this is not a thing that should be in this world. It is bad inherently.
Still not hearing enough to try to tame it.
What is hidden from me?
What is hidden from you? Ooh, what is hidden from you? From what you understand, there's only really 2 ways that these things. You're not part of the Kuni family, the Crab Shigenja family, who would know a lot about this.
I read their poems, but I don't know if they were about this stuff.
Those poems were probably pretty scarce or scant,
Yeah.
and they might know a lot more. But from what you understand, demons should be something that should be possibly in the Shadowlands, where they could crawl their way out of the pits of hell of Jigoku, the land of the terrible hell, basically. And for one to be this far north of the wall, the odds are there is someone who summoned this and brought it into this world.
Like maybe close.
Maybe. Although
So,
it doesn't seem like what they're looking for. And given that I don't know if this counts as leading the witness, but
you get 3 of these, huh? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got 11.
given that I want to get rid of the abomination, where can I find what I seek?
Where can you find what you seek? You know that a creature like this is not going to be able to be destroyed through, like, regular means. Like, if you were to try to fight this thing, with like force of arms, it just wouldn't do anything. Like this thing would be like immune to any of that. Like you're looking at this, and this thing radiates with magic, but it's a disgusting, awful magic that you should not involve yourself with in the slightest. This thing radiates. Yeah, this thing radiates the taint of Jigoku, the malice of hell, and for you to destroy this thing, you'll either need something. You'll either need powerful magic, or you will need to find the one that summoned it.
Maybe some jade that somebody left at home.
Jade, so far as you know, Jade is good against.
Only someone had
hellacious monsters.
Yeah, shipping's bad. Having it literally burn your skin, also bad.
It's a sign that something's bad.
Jade stuff, it ain't great, man.
Okay.
All right.
Only I had a shipment.
So, okay, this with the screaming demon behind you. Yeah, there is a wave of these hooded, robed figures rushing toward you. You are kind of in the way of them getting to this place, and that is the only way out, and they want out absolutely.
This whole scene is a metaphor for the crab guarding all the monsters on the Shadowlands trying to get into Rokugan.
Love it.
I guess I have to kill everybody then.
So, they are definitely... They're definitely going to push through you to get out of here. And if they have to bowl you over to get out of this room, they absolutely will. So, and again, there's a group of... Well, now all of them, with the exception of that one guy, are ready to do this. But...
The guy that was eaten?
Yeah, the guy who was eaten. So the rest of these 11 robed figures are running this way.
Are the other victims, like, what are they doing? Are they still tied up somewhere?
So... the other... I think that's not something you're focused on at the moment too much,
Gotcha.
but they still are theoretically bound.
Gotcha.
And does this thing swallow that other guy whole, or does it chew?
Like I said, I think it chomped on him and bit down, and so parts of him, like maybe an arm and some legs, like popped off, and then theoretically swallowed this bit, and then dripping blood roared again.
I'm just saying I wouldn't want to be the lady's face who's the tongue while the rest of the mouth is chewing.
That's the only way she gets anything to eat.
She was just
What are you saying?
She's a vegan.
Well, what I would like to do is I would like to at least knock one of these guys out as they run at me. Like,
It sounds like you're engaging in battle.
sure,
right.
I would let the rest of them run past me as long as they go.
Challenge them all to a duel.
You stick out your foot
No.
and they trip.
Yeah. Shit.
Your honor's on the line.
God doesn't lie. Stay here with me and the demon. Who cares?
A quick duel.
6. Battling is strong, so it's an 8.
All right.
And
You need to choose 2 of the battle results. And this is you dealing with a lot of people. This isn't a single person.
I would just hit one. If I was going to fight all of them, I would have drawn my sword. I was just going to try to hit one real hard. This is not introduced. What the fuck's battle? Choose 2. So I'm going to still don't really do what I want, but I will suffer a little harm and I will inflict terrible.
Okay. So you suffer a little harm. I think that these folks kind of like push and kick you to get through, and you inflict terrible harm. I think like 1 or 2 of them, or maybe even more than that, you can just grab these people and just like you can just absolutely kill them.
Knock out, hence why not swords, but I'm okay with them.
Yeah, I think that would you'd have to have another option there.
That's fine.
But yeah, so I think you just kind of bash some of these people against these rocks in some way or another, and they kind of push past you. So of the 11 that were running away, let's say now 9 of them,
Sure.
8 of them, yeah, 8 of them are running out of the back, and 3 of them like kind of lay at your feet, bashed up real hard, and yeah, this beast is screaming. There's still these 7 other folks who are kind of bound and are kind of wiggling and trying to like get to their feet. Their feet probably aren't bound. Their hands are. And they're trying to make their way to this exit as well. Maybe some of them still had hoods on that they're able to like nudge off. Maybe one person is still covered in a hood and is like, "Oh, what's going on?" Mr. Bean style, and then just gets eaten.
Oh boy.
Like a baked bean.
Like a baked bean. Yes. Like that one, like the Mr. Bean movie. You remember that scene in the Mr. Bean movie where a dragon ate him? And he's like, "Oh no."
Well, of course, the next thing I do is to draw my sword and charge the demon.
All right, so you draw your sword and charge towards this demon.
Yep.
All right, go ahead. That's just another battle roll. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make. You can make a battle roll, but this might work differently than you think.
Well, I know what I want to do to the demon, so. All that is going to be an 11.
Hold on.
Could maybe be threatening violence, depending on what the outcome, or what the intended outcome is.
I think here's the problem. What are you intending to do to the demon? Let me rephrase that. You can still keep that roll because that's a very good roll.
Challenge
What are you intending to do to this demon? What are you trying to do?
I want to chop off its tongue.
Okay, you have no way to hurt it.
I have no way to hurt it.
You cannot physically harm this thing.
Fucking.
So you actually, that's why I said, like, wait, you can't actually inflict any harm to it. So I think that you run up, and as this thing is, like, screeching and, like, eating this thing, you leap up and you slash it, like, where its neck should be, and your sword just pings off of it.
That's kind. It could have shattered. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so, like, so your sword just kind of, like pings off of it, and you remember at some point, you kind of have a flashback to a battle that you were in which somebody used a sword against
Barn.
like very, very heavy armor, and it just raked across it and like didn't do anything, and like some like big crab warrior was like, "Ha ha ha ha, ha fool," and like that's kind of what happens, where it just kind of pings off of this.
It's like those dramatic sparks.
Yeah, it definitely there's sparks that fly off of this thing, and it just turns to you and screams again. And
guess I got wrestled.
yeah,
What? That's your conclusion? I couldn't slice it.
and I think you hear the voice of Matsu Fukushu who says, like, get Yugare out of here. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm just so focused on this whole I want to get summoned thing.
So
There's a lot of stories about people wrestling demons and killing them. I'm just saying.
Are there?
At least one. I've read like 3 stories about this game, and in at least one, a man wrestles a demon and murders it.
So she says, get Yugare out of here. This thing will kill you.
Not all deep.
Not all deep. Hashtag not all deep.
Deem 2.
Oh no. It's worse.
Oh.
Fine. I will,
You can apply that roll to anything else, but yeah, I think that you run up to this thing and do that, and it just does not work.
Challenge it to a duel.
come on, demon. Do you have no honor, demon?
All right.
I'll just try to find Yugare.
It stomps on another one of these people that's struggling to get to the gate. Like it's like taloned, like feet, and each of its talons, like on like its bird feet, are like at least the lengths of katanas. And so it just grabs, like steps on one of these people and squeezes, and it just lifts up a bunch of the stone. And this person is almost like a Play-Doh thing, like pushed through or like an egg put through one of those egg harps. So it's just like whoop, and it's just like this bloody mess that they're just like instantaneously crushed and killed. What are you up to? Oh no, you still have that roll that you have to use.
Well,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm just kind of seeking the keeping an eye on what's going on from behind something. And if I see Ishi run out and like he's gonna fight it, I've already realized that's not gonna work. So I probably see him like swing his blade, sparks fly, nothing happens, and I'll want to get his attention. Like I'm probably fold over, like bleeding.
And whatnot. Clutching a wound, a bleeding wound in your abdomen.
So I don't know if he wants to use the roll. I don't know how the timing you'd want that to work out, but maybe he can help get me out.
Yeah, that was going to be my plan.
Sure.
I want to get Yugare and also try to get some of these people out.
Absolutely.
Maybe take one of them Obsidian daggers and see what that shit's. That seems weird.
Careful, are you ready to become a father?
Shit, you're right.
So yeah, so if this became a Defy Danger roll, what is that?
What is Defy Danger?
It's bold. So it's a 9 right now. Oh, it stays as a 9?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
That's my character change while I wasn't looking. No, it's 9. Weird.
Okay.
Weird. Could have changed. Sure.
All right. So there are still...
There are 2
There are
of them have gotten killed.
Yeah, there are 5 other people who had their hands bound. I think like 2 of them have made it to the
The
exit. Yeah, the cavern hole. And
Holy.
and so there's 3 more people in there aside from Yugare. So it's you, Yugare, these other 3 people who have their hands bound, and this demon. And
the
so many
one that
hands.
had his head on got eaten, right?
one of them, yeah. So here's the poor decision you can make.
Yeah.
You can choose 2 of these options. Help Yugare get out of here without getting hurt. Not get hurt yourself. Save these other 3 people. You can choose 2 of those 3 things.
I guess we'll get Yugare out and the rest of the people out.
All right. Go ahead and make a harm roll. So you're going to suffer...
Period.
Yeah, you're going to have your period real hard.
suffer.
You're going to suffer 3 harm. Yowza, that's bad. So that was a 9.
So it's going to be a 12.
Oof. Okay.
Because you add the harm that you're suffering.
Yeah, so it goes to, I feel, you can describe this, but I feel it can either, like, grab at you with its claws or with its beak, or it can whack you against a wall or something like that.
But it's very heroic.
Yeah, but whatever you're doing is, you definitely save 4 people's lives in this process.
Yeah.
Earning that courage.
Well, definitely it tries to, so this may be really silly, but it tries to, like, bite down on me, and, like, I reach out with both my arms and stop its beak from closing fully, but that fucking, like, grotesque tongue comes out and, like, knocks me and flings me across the room.
Oh, what if when it grabs you, the face says something to you?
Ooh, that's excellent. I love it.
I
didn't know how to.
What would it say that would be? What would it say that's like extra scary?
It says something about Matsufukusha, but I don't know what.
And I think it says like guided by a ghost just brings you closer to death. And then it flings you against the wall, and I think you're just knocked out cold.
Okay.
And you guys are able to get out.
Is it?
Or maybe you can grab him.
Arm after armor, so something like that.
Maybe for effect at this point, but I wanted to call some kami or something. Okay.
So you're sticking around?
Well, I gotta at least drag him out, right?
But yeah, I feel like you can drag him out of here.
That's why I said mostly for effect.
Okay.
I mean, so I have a move where if on a 7 to 9, you choose one of these 4 options of which kami helps, and they all do a different thing.
I'm down to just end this here if you are, unless you really want to use this move.
I do.
Okay.
I'm just...
Well, one of the options is it heals a harm.
Mm-hmm.
So, alright, I'm gonna roll it. Oops. 10. That just means I get to choose instead of you.
Okay.
And would a fire kami be able to scare the thing? Maybe even just like momentarily.
Sure.
And that's how I'm able to grab him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, done.
All right, so you shoot out like a burst of flames.
Yeah, or
in your
like
hand.
Or like I imagine more like not that I'm shooting it, but that like one manifests like in the cave, like the kami manifests and like lurches out.
What does it look like?
I think there's like a sparkle off like one of the crystals, and it just kind of grows into like this flame snake spiraling through the air, and it
A dragon, perhaps?
yeah, a dragon,
What it in?
and it just makes the pterodactyl just like cower back a little bit momentarily until the fire, like it kind of, the momentum carries this fire dragon, and then it kind of stops in front of the pterodactyl, but the momentum continues as it just burns out, right? Like with the same momentum that it appeared, it disappears, but that was enough to scare off.
And I think it does kind of like, it flaps its huge wings as it kind of like moves up, and we see like a shot of it heading towards the like it rising up, and then its huge frame again like blocks out that top thing, and we see the fire swirling again. It's flapping its wings, and then by the time the fire goes out, you guys are gone.
Yeah.
And by the time we kind of like watch the last little embers die, we see the light kick back in, and it has also flown away. So we're going to have some downtime. All right, so we're going to have a month of downtime. Yeah, and we're going to be in the beginning of winter, as where we will start things off. If you've got a question to ask or a person to talk to, I can give you a piece of information from that person. If you want to heal another harm and thus take care of yourself extra and rest, you don't get a question.
It's a short month.
Anybody got a person they want to talk to? I can try to give you a piece of info that person can provide. Yeah, name a person, and I'll try to just give you a piece of info they can provide to you.
A question is for you, Yugare. Is Ogai one of your loose ends?
You're asking me that, and I don't think you need to ask like in character. Yes, I probably am like asking around some more. In fact, this doesn't fit into your thing of asking a person, but I'd probably go right back out and try to continue what I was doing before, which was like use the spirits to search for where he was murdered.
Would you consult me? Because if you don't, I don't give a shit about Ogai.
I would ask around as well, especially if I heard that you, or like if I knew you were.
You like to talk to non-physical beings rather than physical beings.
Yeah. So, yeah, you probably know that I'm looking for him to answer your question. Or not looking for him, but, you know.
All right. So then does that tell us what Yugare's doing?
Well, yeah, I want to do that. Like, I might bring some guards or something this time.
Uh-huh.
But I want to go back outside and see if the spirits can guide me for any more clues.
So you and Shrimp head out there, and the spirits can give you the insight that Ogai was killed. Miramoto Ogai was killed by a tall man with a long sword who was hired to kill him.
And I can tell you that the mounted horn firemen were looking for him. He was potentially murdered somebody in a crab gambling den in the southern fisherman quarter.
Do you tell him this right away?
He talked to me.
Okay. A correction to that was the Fire Eaters.
Fire Eaters?
Not the Moment's Edge. And certainly not the Mounted Horn.
So we're just supposed to say every time there's one of the... Every time we've written down a firefighter gang, should we just change it to the Fire Eaters just preemptively, probably?
This one connects to that stuff, because it's remember who is there and like what they're involved in. So that one is an important distinction. Taiyo or Ishi?
You're supposed to ask a specific person a question?
You're just supposed to be like, I want to talk to this person, and I'll give you a piece of information that they can tell you.
Okay, gotcha.
These guys went a different direction. I'll talk to this other NPC. I'll talk to this other PC. I will investigate a scene
and talk to spirits.
Gotcha. Okay, so
Spirits are kind of like people.
just basically who we're asking questions to.
Right. And rather than ask a specific question, I'll just tell you something you can get from them.
Sure. How about the Foreign Stories staff?
You know that Magda left. She had been essentially cashing out a bunch of money that she had. So, like, putting together cash to leave. And she left with She didn't leave with a lot of big objects, especially if you're thinking about the journal. She definitely could have left with it. It wouldn't be something that would be super noticeable. But specifically, they will tell you she can't read, or she couldn't read Rokugan. Mm-hmm. So
these are all things I knew already.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, to give you new information. She hired. One of the people will tell you this very reluctantly. Like, she took a barge to go downstream, or she hopped on like a boat to go downstream, and she paid some Moment's Edge, I'm being specific with those, Moment's Edge firemen to kind of just be muscle while she got out of town. And you will hear that neither of the 2 firemen that she hired have returned, and neither has Magda. So the 3 of them have not returned. Finally, Ishi.
See, I don't know who would know her. I want to talk about Matsufukushu. My first thought is to talk to Iju Baranada, but I don't know necessarily that he would know anything about her. And I don't actually know any lines.
You can talk to Matsufukushu.
Nah, that's not good.
One person's already talking to ghosts and spirits.
That's
not
true.
another one.
That's true. No, I don't really trust them. Are there any important lines in the city?
From your dossier, you know that there's Kitsu Senshi and sometimes Ikomo Yurikos in town.
Okay. Well, I would want to talk to one of them about...
Okay. Kitsu Senshi is more regularly in town, and you know that she used to be a magistrate.
Perfect.
All right. So,
right, I remember her now.
Yeah, and she spoke with Andrew. And basically she'll just tell you, Matsufukushu was somebody who was obsessed with... Matsufukushu was as brave as a lion should be, as strong as a lion should be, but lacked a lion's main important aspect, but lacked a lion's focus. That she would lash out at at perceived wrongs, and that she was and she will be reluctant to tell you this. But she was basically obsessed with avenging any perceived slight, which again within the Matsu family is not that weird of a thing. The big thing that's more an issue to Kitsu Senshi is that there was a rumor that Matsufukushu, and you can get that this was a true thing, but just Matsufukushu was known in life for being cruel. And you can remember back to when you went to that one place, that her vengeance would often take on a cruel aspect to it. Yeah, this just tastes weird. This is a strange beverage.
Really? Mine too.
It's
soda.
Yes, it does. It tastes like a weird Mountain Dew. Mm-hmm. If they were Mountain Dew dragon fruit, I'd be yep, that's what it is.
It's a real... What?
Is that a real Mountain Dew flavor?
What the fuck?
What other Taco Bell product did I have to buy to get that?
Dew.
That's a $5 lunch combo box.
At least with that Mountain Dew, it's a real fruit. And it's not just Mountain Dew Biohazard. Red. What's the one? Red Alert?
Code Red?
Code Red. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Mountain Dew. Raw sewage.
You never saw those Baja Blast trees?
They're all on my stomach when I was a child.
I've gotten Baja blasted a few times, but all right.
You just named him.
I don't know. I fucked up.
What is wrong with
that? Voldemort or Yawgmoth?
So, both. Well, Ray finds. Anyway, so they... 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon, am I right? Which sounds like a unit of World War II fighter pilots with the screaming demon behind you.
Got the hottest babes.
Yeah,
babes on their planes though.
To our brave boys overseas.
Screaming demons.
Yeah. This Sunday, when you're at church, pray for the screaming demons. And don't buy pantyhose, because the boys need pantyhose.
City of Lies is Toan as Kakita Aji, Branden as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugare, and Austin as your game master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco.
Additional music for this episode includes Tend to It by Osiris Saline and Tripods by Parallel Park.
This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice.